In this video, I'm going to take you through some of the changes in Blade software versions 8.1 through 8.4. Version 8.2 was only released in Australia and isn't thoroughly covered in this video. Let's start by talking about why these changes are so important. So first, a little history. In version 8.0.3, the database that the software uses to organize job files changed from Access to SQL. Major changes are happening in the background of your software to use the more robust database. But for the most part, all you'll notice is a more stable and user-friendly operator interface. For all 8.1 through 8.4 versions, the following is true. Your PLC software version must be at a minimum of 5.3.12. And the Blade software can work with all supported Blade printers, so don't worry about that. Okay, let's get into the software changes that you will notice. The menu bar at the top of the home screen changed colors. It is now blue, except for the menu that's selected. It turns gray when you select it to make it easier to tell at a glance which menu and ribbon you're looking at. Logging into the SAW as an administrator has changed, starting with 8.3. Sometimes it's necessary to log in as an admin to make certain adjustments. We refer to this field and password as admin_x. It is accessed from the File menu using the login icon. The admin_x password is reserved for people like maintenance, IT, and management who need to make setting changes. Although the password hasn't changed, you must now enter admin_x into the username field. It is not case sensitive. You can tell if your admin_x login worked by looking at the information bar at the bottom of the screen. Right here, it changes from OPER for operator to admin_x. If you need to adjust any of the settings behind the admin_x password, have appropriate personnel contact MiTek automation support for the password. A brand new feature that is hidden behind the admin_x login as of version 8.3 is the ability to delete jobs. You've always been able to delete jobs, of course, but it's now much faster and easier. Because of the increased power of the delete feature, however, only admin_x personnel can access it. If you're not logged in as admin_x, the delete icon shows up, but it is grayed out. For SAWs using messaging, it should not be necessary to manually delete any job. But for everyone else, to delete jobs, log in as admin_x and go to File, Delete. Remember, any job that gets deleted will not show up in reporting. If you delete a job that had any parts cut already, the daily reports will not reflect those parts. After selecting the delete icon, the delete window appears, and in it you can see all the jobs in the database listed. In the past, you could only delete one job at a time, but now you can select multiple jobs with the left click. They turn blue when selected. To unselect it, just click again. There is also a Select All button, and the button toggles to Deselect All in case you change your mind. Once the correct jobs are selected, click the Delete button to permanently delete them from the SAWS database. Everyone should know where to find their plant and shift information because it is now required. In the past, filling out the shift times and plant's company information were optional, but because of the improved communication between all parts of the SAW, this information must be filled in now. On the Tools menu, select the plant icon and ensure that your company information is correct. The email address can be any acceptable email format, and the server and port should be entered as shown here. This information should be filled in the day you upgrade to 8.1 or higher and should not need to be touched after that unless a personnel change causes this information to change. This screen works together with the production shift screen to complete the communication loop. The production shift screen tells the SAW your shift hours and who should get reports. Go to Tools Option and select the Production tab. Fill in the days and the start and end times for each shift. This screen will need to be modified if your shift days and times change because these fields must be accurate for reports to be accurate. In the email addresses box for each shift, fill in the email address for every person who should receive reports for that shift. Enter one email address at a time and press Enter or Return to start a new line, then enter the next email address. When the people listed here receive an emailed report, the From line will show the email address in the company information window we saw earlier. If that line is left blank, the email won't be sent. A minor but important change to note is in the Help menu on the About screen. There is no longer an Update button there. Until further notice, Blade software updates will be done on an as-needed basis, and MiTek will let you know how and when to go about it. I mentioned version 8.2 was released only in Australia for integration with the optional FlowMax automated outfeed equipment. This integration was added globally as of version 8.3.1. For North America, the Component Delivery System, or CDS, automated outfeed equipment was already integrated with the Blade software. Optional equipment is activated by your installers, but you can turn it on and off for troubleshooting by selecting the equipment name in Tools Options. The most exciting change in our version 8 Blade software is the High Performance Mode feature. On new saws with 8.1 or higher, High Performance Mode is already turned on. Just enjoy the speed without doing anything. High Performance Mode updates database values to speed up all servo motors except the gripper and stroke. Gripper speed improvement comes primarily from a new gearbox kit to get a more efficient gear ratio, but there are software settings that need to be changed when the kit is installed. Also, a rigorous mechanical inspection is needed to ensure your saw is fit enough for the faster gripper speed.